Hi, I'm Diane, your host of Epic Conversations, and we're back again with Ken Davis, special guest. He's teaching us about the U.S. Constitution, and you're in for a real treat today because we're going to be talking about the Electoral College versus the national popular vote. And I've always wondered, what's the difference? Now, I do know that one of them, which is the one we currently use, is the Electoral College, and that is affiliated with the U.S. Constitution. And we were talking in previous episodes that the U.S. Constitution is really like the Bible in the area of government. It's a benchmark in which the founding fathers used so that we know how to run our country, our wonderful United States of America. So, Ken, tell us more about those differences between the, Electoral College.
Yeah. So, actually, the Electoral College, as you mentioned, is in the Constitution. It is how we elect our president in the United States.
Okay.
And so when the founding fathers wrote that into the Constitution, their goal was to allow the people, citizens, to be represented, and then a way for the states to be represented.
Okay.
And so the Electoral College, an absolute stroke of genius, quite honestly. How they came up with it is beyond me because they've looked at all these other systems of government around the world at the time. And so as they were determining how will we elect our federal leader, our executive, they want to, again, have the people represented as well as the states. And the Electoral College absolutely fulfills both.
The people and the state.
Correct.
In other words,
Give
their
them both
wishes.
a voice.
Oh, they both have a voice. That's important, too, to have a voice.
Yes. And so when you look at the national popular vote, which is what, in fact, in the state of Colorado, it's going to be on our ballot here, Amendment 76. And so the national popular vote.
Yeah, what is that?
So what it is, there's people out there that believe that whoever wins the popular vote in the United States when voting for a president, that's who should be president. And so you could never get, the truth is you would never get enough states to amend the Constitution to go to a popular vote situation. So this was kind of a workaround. And what it is it basically says, now use Colorado, for instance. Colorado has 9 electoral college votes as a state. And so what national popular vote says is if we'll use 2016.
2016, okay.
So in 2016, let's say that the state of Colorado, we as a people in Colorado had voted for now President Trump. Okay. So that would mean all of our 9 electoral college votes would have gone to President-elect Donald Trump. But in that same example, let's say nationally, the popular vote, meaning each person having one vote, the popular vote had actually gone to Hillary Clinton, which it just so happens in 2016, that is what happened. Then automatically, even though the state of Colorado, with its voice, said we want to vote for President Trump, all of our 9 electoral college votes would go to Hillary, would have gone to Hillary Clinton. Okay, that is how national popular vote. It basically is us not choosing. We're actually choosing not to choose under the national popular vote. And right now there's 15 states plus Washington, D.C. that have all signed on to this national popular vote compact. And once we get to enough electoral votes of 270, then the entire nation will, in essence, become a popular vote situation every time we go to elect a president.
But doesn't that mean, though, if we have like a highly populated area like New York City or another highly populated area of San Francisco, California, or something, that there's 2 big cities here, that their popular vote would be the one to make the decisions for the whole country?
Well, again, let's use 2016.
Okay.
So 2016, for instance, the state of New York the city of New York was won by Hillary Clinton by roughly 1.4 million votes. The city of Los Angeles was won by Hillary Clinton by roughly 1.5 million votes. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote by 2.9 million votes. So yes, what would happen in that case? Pueblo, Colorado, for instance. Pueblo, Colorado is not a very big city. But in the last 10, 15 years, every time a presidential election has come around, with the exception of the current one, they've actually had a candidate for president visit the city of Pueblo. If a city like Kenosha, Wisconsin has been in the news, right? In 2015 or so, they actually had a visit from then President Obama. I think it was 2014. Those cities become completely irrelevant. Because if I'm running for president, I'm only going to go to a handful of large cities. Because if I can manage to win Houston, LA, Miami, New York, right, Chicago, if I can Philadelphia, if I can manage to win a handful of large cities, then I only have to make sure I appeal to voters in those handful of large cities. I can ignore the rest of the country. So under national popular vote, if you live in the state of Wyoming, you're never going to see another presidential candidate. If you live in Nevada, you'll never see another presidential candidate. Idaho, Utah, the list is actually pretty large of states that will never, because they have zero reason to appeal to those people ever again.
Now, this is contrary to the U.S. Constitution because electing officials, especially the president, you want to represent the entire country.
That's right.
You want every voice to be heard in every state because it's the United States.
That's correct.
So everybody should have a voice.
Yes. And of course, I mean, if you are running for president, shouldn't you have to appeal to the farmer?
Yes.
Or the person that owns a ranch, or the miner, or maybe someone that is working at a checkout line in Walmart in the city of, Newark, New Jersey. Shouldn't it be as important for you to appeal to every demographic of person in the United States than to only have to appeal to those that live in large cities, which they all have a similar, someone living in Wyoming has a very similar lifestyle than someone living in Denver, Colorado.
Different too.
Very different.
Yeah, different.
They think differently. So if you are running for president, you should be able to appeal to all the different demographics of people in the United States.
That's a good point. You have to be able to appeal to the rural and the urban,
Correct.
Not just one or the other.
Right.
And what else did they say in the U.S. Constitution in favor of the Electoral College? Anything else that they brought up?
Well, no. I mean, they basically the Constitution lays out how we are to elect our president, and the Electoral College is the means in which they put in there for us to elect our president. And they had, there was no, New York City was basically a farm town in the early birth of the country. Boston was a major center, right? But they wanted to make sure, again, that you would have to appeal to the farmer in New York, just as you would as the big city neophyte in Boston, or the person who owns a farm down in South Carolina or Georgia. Right? They wanted to make sure the president, and that way we would never actually be, the Electoral College was not designed to make sure that the majority could just run over the minority. It leveled the playing field.
I like that. It leveled the playing field versus being controlled by one or two particular cities or groups. This is the way they founded it as being fair.
Yes.
And there's a reason why. So the U.S. Constitution is a very powerful thing. Now, you're teaching a course at Church for All Nations on Saturday mornings.
Yeah, we meet every Saturday morning.
Yeah, and so this would be a great thing to educate, not just on that, but all other areas as well.
Correct.
Wow, that's great. Well, thank you. And anything else you wanted to mention on
listen, if you are in the state of Colorado, I would urge you on the upcoming ballot, make sure that you vote no. We do not want to remain part of the National Popular Vote Compact. And a lot of people are concerned with how close we are, because right now I believe we're at 196 is the count of Electoral College votes that we have now tied up in the compact. The truth is, our 9 goes a long way to preventing that from becoming the manner in which we elect our president.
That's a good point, because I believe everyone would want a voice. Everyone would want to vote. So that would be great to stay with the way the U.S. Constitution was designed for a
250
reason.
plus years, it's worked.
For fair.
It's worked this long.
Even playing field.
Yes.
That's right. It's worked for how many
Over
years?
250
Over 250 years.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Ken. This has been awesome. I always wanted to understand what the difference was between the two.
Yeah.
So
Amen.
thank you
Awesome.
very much.
You're
I
very welcome.
appreciate it. And thank you for joining us. If you're enjoying these episodes, please subscribe to this channel and share it with a friend. And in the meantime, have an epic day in the Lord.